Hey, it's Brian Mudd. This is my cheat sheet for Election Day. Okay, I got as much analytical information as you could possibly want on my physical cheat sheet today. I'm going to hit a lot of it right here. But again, check out my physical cheat sheet and you'll get every angle you could imagine. First, let me go through a few different things here. I'm going to hit President Obama's re-election odds based upon his approval rating, and then we're going to go through some scenarios because there's a little something for everyone, but I will tell you that by the numbers, certainly the odds are in President Obama's favor as we head into today. First, President Obama is right at a 50% approval rating in an aggregate of all the approval rating polls. That bodes exceedingly well for an incumbent president. With the 50% approval rating, President Obama has an 82% chance historically of winning the election today. So don't take anything for granted, regardless of what side you might be partisan for here. You need to make sure that you do get out there and you vote. Take nothing for granted. By definition, even with an 82% chance, that means that there's a near 1 in 5 chance that Mitt Romney, under any circumstances, would win. Now, more on that. Here is where the numbers really start to get complicated. First, I'm going to go through and compare 08 and 08, or 04 and 08 to today. The final average of the polls, comparing the 04 election to the actual results, showed George W. Bush leading before Election Day by 1.5% over John Kerry. The actual result in the 04 election, 2.4% was the win for George W. Bush. In other words, the polls undersampled perhaps Bush by 0.9%. Then let's take a look at the 2008 final polls and then the actual outcome in 2008. And President Obama, in the final average of all the polls, had a 7.6% lead over John McCain. The actual result, 7.2% win. In other words, the polls showed him performing about 0.4% better than he actually ended up performing in the election itself. In fact, if you go back historically, that's the case for Republicans. Whatever the reason, the polls do typically not fare as well for Republicans. Republicans actually fare better on Election Day than they do in the aggregate of these polls. You've heard a lot about the various different turnout models that are being used in an average of the polls. I will tell you that most of them are close to the 08 turnout models. I think reasonably we can expect that it's not going to be near as favorable for Democrats as it was in 2008. I don't think it's going to be necessarily as good as it was for Republicans in 2010 either. And with that in mind, let me go through some things right now. First off, the national popular vote. Here's my one prediction that I'm confident about today as we go in. Mitt Romney will win the national popular vote. Because even if I utilize the polling that we have, the data going into today, I still come up with a slight Mitt Romney national popular vote win. Let me go through this. The final head-to-head matchup in an aggregate of the polling. Barack Obama leads Mitt Romney 48.8 to 48.1. All right? By the time I project for third-party consideration and the remaining little bit of undecided voters, I actually show Mitt Romney winning the national popular vote about 49.6 to 49.3 for President Obama. And then if things turn out to be even a little bit better for Republicans, as I demonstrated the past two presidential election cycles, that win could be even bigger. But regardless of the outcome of the Electoral College today, I do believe that Mitt Romney wins your national popular vote. That's number one. Now, let's go through the turnout models and the implications on the race. If we have the polling as it's out there right now, and we even apply all the undecided voters and everything else, Barack Obama will win the election today with 303 electoral votes to Mitt Romney's 235. Now that would mean that Barack Obama performed 63 electoral votes worse and Mitt Romney 63 electoral votes better than 4 years ago for McCain, and in the case of Obama against himself. But obviously 270 is the magic number, so that would be an easy win for President Obama. Now, here's the thing. If we mix and split the difference between the 08 turnout models and the 2010 turnout models, here's what I get. Mitt Romney wins that scenario by 281 electoral votes to 257 for President Obama. So it really comes down to turnout, and that's not to be overstated. The difference between 08 and a mix with 2010 is the change in the outcome of this presidential race. One more reason why you do not take this election for granted today, anywhere, because it is that close. In fact, when I was going through the numbers, get this, I've got 10 states that look like they could be decided by 3 points or less. I've got 7 states that look like they could be decided by 2 points or less. And I've got 2 states that look like they could be decided by less than 1 point. This is that close. Turnout wins the election today, period. End of story. Whichever side gets the better turnout, if we get closer to that 08 model, Obama wins. We get closer to that 2010 model, Romney wins. Not to oversimplify, but that really is the story of today. I got plenty more analytics on the fiscal cheat sheet today. Go through them, have fun, be a little bit freaked out by the end of the day, and by all means, vote. That is the cheat sheet for today. We shall see tomorrow.